All right. So, if you don't mind all the noise going on here, I'm going to give an update on the current status of the Song Visualizer. All right. Um, so there's something new here. I guess I got rid of the text. Hmm. Damn. Let me do something real quick. All right. Well, I just modified the code real quick to show a line right here. Song Visualizer 0.5a alpha pi OpenGL. So what that means is, if you see here, OGL, it's OpenGL. It's no more DirectX, it's no more Pygame, and that is a whole lot of code changes. All right, so I want to try to describe the latest update. So, oh crap, okay, never mind. There we go. Just modifying my camera. Okay. So this is Song Visualizer version 0.5 alpha. And the most recent versions before this, I was thinking to myself, well, hey, I made all these updates to the song creator. The song creator, the update I added was that liftoff functionality. So I have, right now it's by OpenGL. I don't have song creator open at the same time, but um, well, I don't know how long I was talking to myself there, but let me start over because I might have been muted the whole time, right? So this is Song Creator. This is Song Visualizer version 0.5 alpha. And hold on, I gotta signal myself for later when I come back and edit. Okay, so I'm trying to get back on track. Um, Let me just repeat what I said. I don't know if I was on mute. So my latest version of Song Creator was version 0.4Z alpha of Song Creator. So when I versions, I share the version between the Song Creator and Song Visualizer. And then my song creator, the most recent changes I made were to, you know what? Hold on. Let me just start over because I gotta get back on track. There's a lot of things. Okay. Let me start over. Um, okay, so starting over here. This is session number 309. And on my screen, I have open Song Visualizer version 0.5a alpha, PyOpenGL. And I want to explain the current status of the project. So, the most recent, before this, so that, trying to give some context. The most recent updates I was giving on this song creator was version 0.4z alpha. Version 0.4z alpha. Yeah, that's it. Um, sorry, it's just so I'm not used to communicating these things because this project uh, is deeply internalized, right? There's a when I'm programming this, it's just myself in a quiet room and I'm having like internal dialogue programming, thinking to myself, like all day yesterday. So today is Sunday, March 26th, and all day yesterday on Saturday, March 25th, I lost track of how many commits I made. That had to be like 12 hours at least programming. And what made it fun? All right, hold on. I'm still going all over the place. Just give me a second. Okay, there's a lot to talk about, all right? So I'm gonna talk, I'm gonna play guitar. I'm gonna be here for a couple hours, all right? Just I need a break. Let me catch my breath, and then we're gonna go through it all. So just hang tight. Okay, so let me start over if I can. On my screen, I have Song Visualizer version 0.5a alpha pi OpenGL. Okay, so this is Sunday, March 26th. And yesterday, Saturday, March 26th, I spent about 12 hours writing this from scratch. So previously I had Pygame, and now I'm using PyOpenGL. And yeah, this is a lot of work. What helped me was that I have two monitors, main monitor of course, and then a side monitor. And then the side monitor, the main monitor I had Pygame or Python programming, and then the second monitor I had ChatGPT open. And I was actually asking the whole way through, hey ChatGPT, how do I do this? Send me code of updated this. And literally, I was able to save so much time through interacting with ChatGPT and asking questions and on how PyOpenGL works. For example, there's something called GLUT, or I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but it's spelled GLUTT. And what that is a DLL file that I had to externally install other than pip install. I had to get a file that included the bindings for the GLUT. And what that is, it's just another way of doing what Pygame does, but apparently better. So it's the same design, same functionality, but there's different. So what GLUT is like a bindings of OpenGL. So it allows me to do things like it allows me to do the same things as Pygame, draw lines, draw buttons, draw text, draw squares, rectangles. And in this case, I have the PyOpenGL set to 2D. I don't want to do 3D, but this took a lot of work. Just getting the buttons to display, getting the timer to display, getting the song length to display, getting the buttons, coloring the buttons, getting the text for the buttons, the functionality for the buttons when I click one button and changes the color of the one button. Functionality OpenMP3, functionality of OpenGP5, functionality of play. Oh, I broke it because there's nothing selected. Functionality of play, functionality of stop, functionality of pause. The second delay before, it's a couple seconds delay that occur before the song actually starts. Drawing only the active frets that have active notes in them. Having the song stop after the length of the song is is exceeded. Um, it's a lot. It's really, really a whole lot. And it's quite an accomplishment that I got it this far in a day. This is not Pygame, this is PyOpenGL. But the problem is, right now I'm on every frame, I'm deleting everything and I'm redrawing everything. And that is not how I want to do this. And there's some tweaks to make. There's a lot of adjustments, but the just that the fact that I got this the squares to draw, to move down, to draw the correct color, to have the correct width for the frets to go across the screen, across the whole width. Just there's so much. I wish I could go over all the commits, but if I look at my GitHub for 325.23 yesterday, there is so many commits. I pushed commits along the whole way. So this commit, I had the window display because I had the trouble with the background color, and I learned the proper updating process. It turns out PyOpenGL has its own built-in functions called display, and display is by default the event loop. And you trigger the event loop by toggling a function, calling it to trigger. Start event loop, and when you start the event loop, you reference a function called display. And in that function display is basically that's where it's updated every tick. That's the event loop. That's the while loop that Pygame has. And it's just interesting because in the display, I don't need a while true. I just need an if song's active, something like that, right? Because Event loop. All right, let me take a breather. I'm still here, but I'm just gonna take a breather. So there's a lot of things going on my screen right now. There's no sustains, there's no bends, hammer-ons, pull-offs, palm mutes. There is 2-note chords, 3-note chords. Um, there's a lot. So you see how it says OGL and my Riva Tuner statistics, whatever you call it. Man. All right, so I have an idea. While we're doing this, let me see something here. This is something I've been wanting to do that I've been working towards, and might as well do it. Okay, I'll share my screen. Yeah, this is my song creator folder. This is the folder where I manage all the Guitar Pro notation with my project. And there's folders for every different tunings you can have between 3 different guitars, between drop D, open E, open G, and I think that's it, and E standard. 4 different tunings. So let's go E standard, and this is the E standard folder, right? One there. Let's do something. It's finally done. We got 1.6. Let's see how many files there is. These are only Guitar Pro files. Guitar Pro 5, ranging 40 kilobits, 70 kilobits each. And I have gigs worth. 1.6 million at least. It's hard to comprehend how many that is. So far it's 13 gigs, and so far it's up to 400,000 files and folders. I haven't seen the final size. I barely finished the creation of these 1.6 million files the other day because I had the program going about 2 weeks. About the best case, I had it 8 to 10 hours, and around 8 hours you get 100,000, give or take. So, around 2 weeks to generate 1.6 million. And I wanted to do this because I wanted to have every file. I wanted to have, okay, since I have the, here, we could let this go, see how many in the background. But let's click in the E standard. So when you click in the E standard, I have so many different folders, 159 folders, right? Well, 157 because there's 2 other. So like 157, and that is based on 1 key variation and 2 key variations, right? So 1 key variation, you could have 12 variations, right? 7 without sharps or flats, and then 12 with sharps and flats. The default keys just by themselves. And inside those default key folders, I have 109 different variations of scales. So it goes key, scale in terms of like folder, subfolder. So it goes E standard, E standard, E standard, key of A, and then all the scales of key of A. 109. So the individual key folders don't have too many, but if you go to a double key, in this case, a key of A and key of A, we have 11,557 different variations. And that's just because every scale, every 105 scales iterates through the other 105 scales, or whatever. So if you do the math, 105 times 105, isn't that like 11, what, something like that. I don't want to get a calculator open. I already done that several times. But if you go to key of A and A sharp, you're going to know that um, there's more scales for two unique keys than there is of two of the keys of the same. That's because I don't want the key. I don't want key of A and A to have two matching scales because that's pointless. There's no difference between two keys of the same scale and one key of one scale. So that's why key of A and A has 11,557 and the key of A and A sharp has 11,664. So the two unique keys has more. And it was kind of fascinating watching this lift off on the Python. Okay. Hey, let me switch subject. 54 gig, that's just what I estimated. Pretty interesting. I estimated about 50 gigs. So, would I rather take a AAA game that's junk and crap, or would I rather have 50 gigs of my own Guitar Pro files that'll take me years to scavenge? Because that's 50 gigs of guitar profiles of version 0.4 Z alpha of the song visualizer. And now I bumped up the version now that I generated 1.6 million guitar profiles. I bumped up the version and I spent my time updating version 0.5a for the song visualizer because I'm now using PyOpenGL rather than Pygame. And there's a lot of things I need to do with this PyOpenGL for performance-wise. It's still not the best performance. Let me try something. I want to show you something else I disabled in the code. Here, just give me a second. Give me a minute. Take a breather. All right, so you may notice it's choppy. Um, Hold on, let me do something in the code before I get into that topic. I don't want to share the source code, so I'm hiding my screen. This is private. You cannot see this. ChatGPT can see this because ChatGPT is a collaborator. Well, ChatGPT hasn't seen all of the code, right? It's very fascinating. So I spent, like I said, about 12 hours yesterday programming with ChatGPT. And I'm sorry for all the people who hate AI or are against it because I had I helped tune it yesterday. Like I gave it thumbs up, I gave it thumbs down, one of those. Because sometimes it really gave me the answer I needed. And other times it was, what are you doing? That's not what I asked for. And other times it was, you cut off your message and you forget the reference to what you were talking about. But back to the topic of the program, I'm going to enable some code that I disabled. Um, particular the oh hold on. Where did I put it? Did I just delete it? Because I thought I commented it out. Oh, right. I no crap. You- Well, I guess I deleted the portion of the code that I was gonna try to enable because whatever. Well, I'm not in the mood to dig, so let me just enable sharing my screen. All right, so the way. All right, let me take a breather and I'll give you my current status of this song visualizer. Version 0.5a alpha. PyOpenGL. It's a big deal to me to use PyOpenGL. It's like really big. You know, I always know I hear it in the background, OpenGL, OpenGL. That's what hackers use, right? You just replace this OpenGL, and now you get aimbot. And I'm getting into that world, but for the purpose of music and programming. All right, let me just give me a second. All right, so um, the current status of this project, unfortunately, not unfortunately, because there's only so much I could do at a time, right? I'm still like processing the fact that I've done this in a day. Like I'm trying to stress that the fact that I got this PyOpenGL working in a day is amazing because while true, I am converting. So like I already have all the logic in Pygame, right? In Pygame, everything's functional. It's just some things I'm trying to improve on performance, which is why I switched to PyOpenGL. PyOpenGL uses the graphics card, whereas Pygame uses the CPU. Like in terms of drawing these rectangles or whatever, drawing these squares. But the problem is that um, I'm still figuring out the aspect of something called scissor in PyOpenGL. So right now, I tried to mention earlier that in PyOpenGL, um, hold on, give me a second. All right, just update the stream title, whatever. Just and because I'm not playing guitar just yet. I mean, I will, but not quite yet. Just give me a second. All right, so PyOpenGL, what I'm currently using here, it is similar to Pygame. You got the event loops, you got squares, rectangles, lines, but this glut program, at least so far, doesn't have um, groups. There's something called GLFW or something that I have to look into more. That I just haven't had time yet because I did everything here in a day. So everything I'm using here, I'm using Glut. GLUT. So that uses. So I have a initialize function. In the initialize function, I start the event loop, and in the event loop is using the display function. And I have a whole bunch of different things. If the song's active, whatever. Um, ChatGPT even helped me with reformatting how I keep track of the time because before I used time delta. No, I use. I think it was time delta. It's like a time date format that includes hour, minute, second, like I logged, and then I used that as a start time. The ChatGPT helped me switch to time, time, time now. You know, there's different formats of time, and so that time now is referenced to like something less specific than like the time delta one. uh, because the time thing, I'm keeping track of when the song started, when it's active, when it's paused. If I paused it, I have to keep track of like, hey, now the state is paused. The stop button updated to play, changed color. The timer is paused, and then I can resume it. But what is weird though is that because this is frame based, right? Right now I'm clearing everything and redrawing everything. So right now it's erasing the notes and it doesn't get a chance to redraw it. That's interesting. But other than that, I have a lot to work on for this project. So what I'm trying to do is figure out a way that I don't have to update the entire screen every frame, right? So every frame, everything is erased and everything is redrawn. I mean, everything. If I, like, what I mean by everything is, if you look at the screen will just be white background, but it changed it. There's a way to, in PyOpenGL Glut, there's a way to change the color that you want to erase with. So let's say I want to erase something and I want a black background. I just tell the erase to be the color black. That way the erase won't erase the background. So for example, the notes are different colors, right? The purple string, or sorry, it's the Rocksmith color formatting of the string. Its high E string is purple, B string is green, and of course I'm talking standard tuning. First string, well, whatever. First string purple, second string green, third string orange, fourth string blue, fifth string yellow, sixth string red. From um, top to bottom. So with that, I could specify that I want to erase just like I can't point. I just want to erase the string. I don't want to erase the fret. So the problem right now is currently everything's being erased. The frets are being erased. The finish line is being erased. The buttons are getting erased. The timer. It's okay for this timer to get erased because it has to update every frame, but I want to update it to update every second. Just like in Pygame, I had the timer update every second only. But right now in this program, it's updating every frame, which is uncapped at the moment. So it's like 144. But I'm using delta time to determine the velocity. I'm trying to get rid of jittery movement, but it's tough. I don't know how to make it smooth. Like I do have delta time right now. It's not a fixed time rate. I don't know if that's contributing. I don't know if I should, because if I set it to 60 and you can't get 60, then I'm trying to set it so that it's smooth at 60, but it's tough. So yeah, there's no sustains displayed right now either. This is just a bass note. The way I have sustains written right now is I add it as a second note. It's kind of weird. It's not the most efficient way, but I had it set that way so I could configure the width to be separate, just be smaller than the bass note. So if you have the bass note wider than the sustain, then it's for me it's easier to visualize because if you have a sustain that's the same width as the bass note, and that gets confused with the note after it that has the same width. So like I confuse the width of the sustain with for the note that's coming after it because they blend together. So for me, when I have the sustain less width, I could easier see the note above it. Oh, hey, this is not working as intended. You see the song still going. Or the, wait, that's interesting. The play button updated, but the timer, the timer's still going. Okay, well, like I said, I, I pretty much have to, like, as much as I have the logic in Pygame for all these small things, um, still have to, there's some things I have to rewrite just to get what was working to work again in terms of getting PyOpenGL, which is why I'm so surprised I was able to get this current status of where I'm at. I didn't expect to get this far in a day to get functionality where I got the song length, I got the timer, I got the notes displaying at the correct time, correct notes displaying at the correct time, and it's a lot. It's a whole lot. It's a lot of thinking. Like it's very exhausting to be thinking this intense like programming. And I gotta say that when I use ChatGPT, when I had two monitors, one monitor programming and the second monitor sending code snippets back and forth, there's a lot of things in my code that I learn. Okay, for example, the way the buttons are written, like I already had the buttons written in Pygame, but when I worked with ChatGPT to write the buttons, I was working on ChatGPT to convert Pygame to PyOpenGL. And the way it sent me the buttons was very fascinating. So the buttons is I think it's a NumPy array, which I would not have known a thing about. I think it's NumPy array. It's like a dictionary, NumPy. And inside each one, let's say button for open MP3 has, or button for drums, button for piano, button for bass, button for lead. It is in they each have their values, text, color. Um, yeah, and I have to reference that buttons array every time. Okay, you notice the button stop. It's red, as says the word stop. I click it, now it says play, and it's green color. So in that array, I just say if text equals stop, then suddenly update color to be this. And that update is handled in the next display frame iterate update. All right, well, I'm going to take a little break. Be right back. Intermission. Okay. So for the song visualizer, I was looking into, because right now it deletes everything on every frame, and it's not the best for performance. Here, let me turn on the desktop audio. Hold on. I know you could hear it, but I don't hear it on my headphone. Give me a minute. So the pause doesn't pause the audio right now, but I had to use the I had it stops the audio, but I had to use um, Pygame Mixer. I didn't import the whole Pygame library, just Mixer. And yeah, I guess I won't be able to play guitar this time, or I'm not sure. Um, let's see what a guitar profile has here. So let's choose key of D and G, key of major and blues. So D major and G blues. This was 316. Oh, come on, I just updated it. Guitar, I'm using Guitar Pro 5. I don't need Guitar Pro 10 right now. That's the winner. It's ironic that D major sounds like G blues, isn't it? Like, hey, we're in key of D, we're supposed to be major, but at the same time, you sound similar to the key of G when you're in blue. Hmm, says a lot about the key of D. Okay, let me save this one. I mean, it's already saved, but organize it. Put this in. Trying to put aside songs that I consider album 3 worthy. Because I already have 2 albums. I want a third. I just can't count to 3. I've been writing over a year. Okay. What one next? If that was a key of whatever. Well, I started this session thinking I would play a couple songs and go through whatever. But at this point, let me switch back. I don't think I'll play just yet. I have to save that. But I want to look at, I have to go to a different version. Okay. So I just switched the branch on my GitHub back to version 0.4z alpha Pygame. And I want to open that guitar profile. I want to see what it looks like. Because when I looked at the notation in the Guitar Pro, it looks very playable. The tempo wasn't bad. Notes weren't too fast. And that's one thing I tried to get with Song Visualizer, Song Creator version 0.4z. That's why I made 1.6 million different files with this version. It's because I think this is a good version that says, hey, try to make the notes playable. Because that was one problem I always had. And some other things. Are, doesn't look bad. Let me get the audio. You got the audio. Alright, well, I gotta go for now. But I'm gonna keep streaming every now and then. I didn't want to stream yesterday because I was having so much fun 12 hours rep programming. But in this stream so far, I gave an update on Song Visualizer version 0.5a alpha using PyOpenGL. And there's more updates to give, but I'll come back. Alright, see ya.